This week we're going to cover HTML5, CSS3, and responsive design. An example of responsive design is this site. As you can see, this is basically a mobile layout, and as I stretch the width, it changes. Say this is like a tablet design, and if I even stretch it further, it switches to more of a desktop design. Hence the term responsive design. You should be pretty familiar with this concept. As you can see, a site is now able to serve different devices and with different dimensions. Content floats, changes and disappears depending on the dimensions. This is the basic setup for an HTML5 document. We're going to be dealing with mostly HTML5. It's more compatible with mobile devices, basically. So the first line here, doc type HTML, tells the browser that this is a HTML5 document and render it as so. It's pretty basic. The meta tag tells this is the Latin Unicode typeset, and the viewport, this is a 1 scale device, initial scale 1. Basically it starts off so that it's not zoomed in or zoomed out on a mobile device. That's the basic structure. Everything else is the same as the regular HTML. HTML5 added new tags that can be taken advantage of. In the old days with HTML4, you used to basically just tag a div or any tag with some sort of identifier, like a footer, text, and close off the div. But now with HTML5, you can have a tag named footer, and so on. You could have header, I believe. Either option is fine. Nothing's going to blow up. Or you could do like a navigation, like nav. So on. The main advantage of HTML5 is the canvas. We won't be going into this, but just to let you know, canvas is sort of a window where you could draw using JavaScript, draw pixels. So if you have a drawing program or draw something, you could use the canvas tag. The other advance in HTML5 is the video tag. With the video tag, there are options like control. MP4s should work fine. I guess the video source is tagged here. I'll delete the canvas. As you can see, the video is embedded in the HTML. You obviously can also set the width and height. The width is now 100% to the page, or to whatever parent. Let's say if I put it inside this div layer, it will be 100 to the div layer and not the document. So you can see there's a margin to the sides. So that's pretty much the gist to HTML5. Pretty easy. We'll go ahead and jump straight into CSS. I'll comment this out. This is a external. I'll cut these guys out too for now. Okay, let's jump into CSS3. The idea behind CSS3 is that it's a lot more powerful in what it can render. Before, let's say you wanted to make a rounded button, you had to make an image of a rounded button and place that either as a background or as the image itself. But with the new CSS, you can just tell a box or a div layer to be rounded and have a drop shadow and so on. So the rendering capacity for CSS3 is a lot more powerful. So that's the idea behind that. Alright, let's jump into it. Let's make a navigation. Nav. And close it off. And let's make a unordered list. Lists are usually used to make menus. The structure of it allows you to be more flexible in a responsive condition. Do an item. And inside it, let's do a link. I'm not sure where to go yet, but let's make a menu for the popular search engines. Let's do Yahoo. So there's our navigation. Obviously, that's not a very good looking navigation, so we'll style it. So let's say the width of this would be 100. Let's give it a border. Do a border radius of 10 pixels. So this will now have a rounded border. Save, refresh. As you can see, a rounded border. Let's give it a background as well. Light gray. We'll skip the drop shadow for now. Okay, let's style the the list. So we can do nav ul. If you don't know, these are selectors. This basically is saying let's style all the unordered list in nav list style type none. Well, the bullets are gone. Let's get rid of that padding that the list bullet existed in. So it's padding left 0. Okay. And now let's make it horizontal. So we do nav ul li. So we are now styling the list items in the unordered list. So now let's do display inline block. Inline block gives us a little bit more flexibility than just inline. I'll show you in a minute. So now the list is now horizontal. The inline block allows you to gives it attributes like width and height, just like a normal block, but in an inline fashion, which you can't do with a regular inline. So now you can do width. Let's give it 100 pixels each with a vertical line. Border left pixel solid black. To border right. So now the items are divided by a black line. Obviously I don't want this last one to have a black line because it looks odd design wise. You can target that last item without tagging it by using nav ul li colon last child. This will pick any last item in any list. So instead of border right something, just say border none or 0. As you can see, it goes away. Okay, let's text align center. So now the navigation's in the middle. And let's give the link slightly more attractive color. Let's give the whole body a font. By the way, in CSS3 you can use customized fonts instead of the generic Arial or Sans and so on. I'll post a link to where you can get them. Google Fonts, you can download the actual font or externally link the font. And there's another site as well. I'll post that. Okay. Let's do 2 columns of content and make it responsive. The key to being responsive is that you can't use tables. Tables has its place, making really nice lists and whatnot, but it's very, the structure of it's very static, so it won't allow you to have a very responsive site. Actually, let me backtrack here. There's a class container that I need to define. Margin left, auto, margin right, auto, width 90%. Margin left and margin right setting to auto basically centers the container. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the media detection in CSS. There's 2 ways to detect different dimensions or media screen dimensions. One using JavaScript, the other using CSS, which is a lot more handy and easier. And the code for that is as follows. It's at media screen only screen, at media only screen, and the minimum width at whatever number you can figure out, 148, meaning that this is a tablet view. Everything inside this curly bracket here will take precedence over whatever is above it. Let's assume all this CSS is for a mobile handheld device. And if you have code in here that will override the code for this mobile, for the tablet. And for the desktop, I think it's 769 for the minimum width of a tablet or a desktop. So when you design for a phone gap, basically all you would really need is for the tablet view and for the handheld mobile view. Obviously the desktop view doesn't really play into this. Okay. So let's say this is our mobile view. On our tablet view, we'd have a bigger width to play with. So let's have this lorem ipsum and this video to be 2 columns rather than stacked on top of each other. So it's named body text. Class body text. Instead of displaying as a block, let's do inline block. And have a width of 50% of the container. turn on the border just to see. Oh, it's ID. ID is pound. Okay, now I need the video to shift up to its side. Let's give the video an ID as well. ID. Vid. I'll delete this part. Okay. So now they exist in columns. Okay, let's give the navigation and the content a little margin bottom 10 pixels. Okay. So as you can see, I'm clicking through the different dimensions here on Dreamweaver. The content changes. This is no longer a column, and this is a column. So you can actually make content disappear and reappear as well, depending on the width. As you know, if there's not enough space, some content can go away. It doesn't have to be there. So let's say the footer is inconsequential. ID footer in the mobile view. Display none, but it should appear in the tablet view. Should reappear in here. Okay. Okay, let's add in a banner. Forgot to do that. Container. We'll use the header tag. Header. Let's put in an image. img. src equals. Put in the source. Home banner. Okay. Save. I'll style this image so that it will be 100% width. Header, img, selecting all images in the header tag with 100%. Save. Okay. So it stretches with the browser dimensions. Okay, now that we've finalized our design, I want to take the styles and turn it into a file so I can externally link it to other pages if I need to. CSS, create, paste. Styles.css. Attach style sheet. Brown. Insert a link href styles. This links to the external styles. Okay, that's it.